And so one of those girls that came to mind tonight, her name is Mary, and her name isn't actually Mary, but I am just going to use the name Mary so that just to protect some of her privacy. But she's given me permission to share these pieces of her story with you. When we met her, we were on the streets in Seattle, and she was 19 years old, and she had been involved in the sex trade since she was 16. And she ran away from home when she was 16 to escape the sexual abuse that her father had been doing to her since she was 12 years old. And so since she was 12, she's seen herself as a sexual object, and that's how she learned to gain acceptance and gain love from men. And not long after she ran away from home, she was recruited by a pimp. She didn't know he was a pimp. In fact, he told her he was going to be a good man to her. He was going to protect her, unlike her father, that he was going to care for her and he was going to provide for her. But after a few months, he forced her into prostitution in order to bring money home. And if she didn't bring enough money home, over time, he would beat her more and more. And as time went on, the violence increased, and as the violence increased, she felt more and more trapped. Her life was in danger if she stayed with him, and her life was in danger if she tried to leave him. When she did finally escape, after multiple years of being sexually assaulted, sometimes by groups of men, once she did finally escape, it wasn't long before she was recruited by a madam who ran a brothel, and she was invited into the brothel to be protected. And this was the only life she knew, so it made sense to do that, and it seemed somewhat safer, but it turned out that she experienced a lot of the same abuse that she had when she was with the pimp, and the same abuse that she had when she was with her father. Her grandparents flew her out to Seattle to enter into a therapeutic program at the University of Washington, and while she was in that program, she was still actively engaged in prostitution because that was all she had known. She didn't have a support system out here, and so when we got to meet with her and build a relationship with her, it was, for her, some of the first steps towards freedom. And there was so much pull on her life back and forth in and out of the sex trade, but over a few months, as we continued to build a relationship, we were able to invite her into safe housing with a couple from the church. And they provided housing for her, and even though she ran away a couple times back into the life, she was able to come back. And she started to experience the love of God, the freedom and hope that comes through knowing Jesus, and that no matter what man has done to her, that can reign supreme in her life. And it was just a blessing to see her to continue to apply some of those truths to her life and fight some of those lies that were continuing to call her back into prostitution. Today, she is in another state. She is living with a Christian family, and she is going out onto the streets multiple nights a week, but this time to bring a message of hope, to bring the message of Jesus, and ministering to other girls and inviting them out of the life and into freedom in Jesus. And it's stories like that that are just a miracle to me. I remember when I sat down with her and I heard her story, and I thought, I didn't even know how to respond. There was so much emotion with me. I was going to weep. I might even throw up. Like, it was just so devastating to hear what she had been through, and to know that she is going back out into the battlefield with a message of hope, no longer being swayed into abusive relationships or relationships where she would be exploited, but instead inviting girls into a relationship that will free. And that's just a miracle.